Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com. For those of you who are watching this before I get my cover image up, yeah, sorry, I don't have my cover image yet. I'm on the road doing a CE class, and I went to this advanced Invisalign study club somewhere on the West Coast, not going to say where I am. There were 9 orthodontists in one room just going over cases the entire day, and they were all advanced, and it was so amazing and exhilarating. So thank you to Align Technology for allowing me to come. Of course I can come. I'm a provider. Paid the money, it wasn't free. Again, before I go into this video, I'm going to be going over tricks, tips, and pearls just from all the great conversations. I cannot show you anything because it's not my lecture and it's not my permission to show any of this. Nothing proprietary will be said here, just conversations, all the things, tips, and tricks I learned. It was so great. I felt that the speaker, which I'm not going to say the name of the speaker, was amazing. Very, very experienced in Invisalign, I would say even more than me. So they were definitely, this speaker pretty much only has an Invisalign practice and does a lot of hard cases. So everything I'm going to tell you today was things that I believe and make sense, but maybe I'm going to explain it in a different way, or maybe there's different things that I haven't quite told you in my videos. So these are just pearls. Doesn't mean I've done them. Matter of fact, none of this stuff I've done, but it made sense to me. So I feel like the stuff that makes sense to me, I can put it all in a video. It's just going to be literally like a vomit pile of tips and tricks that you are welcome to try or not try. Don't hold me to it because I'm not saying I've done none of them. I've done none of them. So I saw cases where these were done. It made sense. The stuff that didn't make sense, I'm not going to tell you about. So I'm just going to tell you the stuff that made sense. Now I have 17 pages of notes. I was furiously that person taking notes, just blown away by all the great ideas. I do really love aligners, and you guys know that. I love braces, and again, never worked for Align Technology, never even taken a penny from Align Technology. Yes, I paid for my class today and my travel out of my own pocket. I don't even know if people knew who I was, which is fine. Great. I don't mind. Fantastic. Don't know who I am. Let's see, or if they did, they were very polite because usually orthodontists are very rude to me. So very, very nice people. I'm going to just give you a big brain dump before I forget everything because it is all swimming in my head right now and I'm ready to expunge it so that I can enjoy my evening. But I'm trying to put the pieces together. So my notes are a furious mess. I'm going to try my best to make logical sense out of them. Please do not ask me any questions because I haven't tried any of this stuff yet. So literally, if you're interested in something, I'm going to just go over high level. Some of the stuff is stuff that I can't help you with. So if you want help with a case that has some of this stuff, if it's surgical, I'm not helping you. And if you're not sure what stuff I can't help you with, you can go to my website or we can have that conversation. All right. So let's go. Like I said, this is going to be a giant brain dump of stuff that makes sense to me, but I haven't done. But you're welcome to try them if you want. Okay. Let's just go. Treatment planning. So you know how I tell you guys I'm not a fan of the Invisalign Pro, like doing all the attachments yourself and switching it. You know what? I'm paying $2,100 less any volume discount or more. Y'all can do it. I'll tell you what I want. Do it. That's just my opinion. Actually, this doctor does use the Pro, but listen, if you're young like this doctor, it's cool. But if you repetitively right-click 5 million times, you're going to get carpal tunnel. That is just my opinion. So I choose not to use the mouse and right-click. I can verbally just dictate into my computer, takes 10 seconds. Let the technician spend 20 minutes fiddling with this. I do not get paid enough money to fiddle. So, and cause carpal tunnel. Just my opinion. And again, this came up, is this really worth your time? In my opinion. If you're really in a hurry and you must have it back in 10 seconds, then do it. If you're not in a hurry, it's going to come back in a day or two. As long as you have good volume, don't worry about it, Okay. I have told you guys many times, and okay, everything I'm going to talk about pretty much already has another video defining it. So if I say a word and you don't know what it is, feel free to go into my YouTube channel and put that keyword in. So I'm just going to say keyword is blah, and you can look it up, okay? I'm not going to define any of this. This is going to be a very advanced lecture. So if you're just starting with Invisalign, I would click off this video. This needs to only be for people who are very advanced, which a lot of my doctors are, and a lot of you guys are. And if there's orthodontists listening, you should definitely go to one of these study clubs, definitely. Of course, it really just depends on the speaker, and it's so collaborative. If you don't have really, really smart doctors who have a lot of experience with Invisalign, you're not going to get anything out of it. Okay. I honestly feel like I was the most experienced doctor in there by far, besides the speaker, because I had a million good questions and everyone looked confused. But again, my opinion. My should have me speaking, but I don't really want to work for them. Okay. If you have a light, moderate, express DSP case. Oh, sorry, one more disclaimer. These are my interpretation of great ideas that were discussed. There's nothing proprietary. It's just great ideas. Orthos get together, they have cool conversations, nerdy conversations all the time. We're very nerdy, okay? We're into biomechanics, we're into lots of stuff. It's a very different vibe than a GP vibe. So this is just cool ideas that make sense to me, not proprietary. So if you don't like it, click off. If you're doing DSP, Invisalign Light, Express, Moderate, blah, blah, check the TMT, keyword TMT. No translation, no root movements, no torque, no translation, none of that. They might put it in just because, and this again was an overarching conversation, just because the Clincheck says it happens doesn't mean it's gonna happen. I've been telling you guys that. It's all right, you guys. Tooth movement is dynamic and it's physics. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Constantly, I do personally believe that Invisalign is, and I'm saying this again, I've never taken a cent from them. All the other speakers take money for them. I don't. I get nothing from them except for grief. So, for the last 20 something years. But I still like them and we still use them in our offices. Why? Because I think they have the best R&D. For the hard cases, it's the most predictable. I'm just saying, but you need to use your brain. And again, I'm going to tell you guys, you will never get good at Invisalign if you do not know braces and phase 1 first. It's just how it is. Consensus in the room. That's because everything we're talking about is based on braces and aligner and phase 1. If you don't want to do braces in phase 1, I don't care. Just learn it. And then at least it'll make more sense. When I reference things, I'm going to be talking about so many things that are braces and phase 1 related. You're not going to understand what I'm saying if you haven't already learned this, okay? And I do have a braces and phase 1 course. No, I don't have an Invisalign course because in order to have a course, you have to show all the software and stuff. I can't legally do that. That's their proprietary information. It's not my business. I can't do that. So that's why I cannot do an Invisalign course. You guys are asking. I tell you take my phase 1 and my braces course. Then I say do some cases with me. You will get it. Trust me, it's not that hard. Okay. Moving on. So this was a cool pearl. I never had thought about this. How come sometimes cases that are intruding, I'm talking mostly about adults, where you have incisor intrusion, be it lower or upper, sometimes it does work. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. And you can tell, I can tell when a patient is compliant. There's lots of things I'm looking at in the trays, other stuff, the teeth. So how come it's not intruding? I always thought, well, maybe the bone was more dense. We can't really tell. These are things they can work on in their AI. Well, this doctor had a great idea. And I've been telling you guys this. You're trying to do too many movements at a time. You can't necessarily uplight roots, especially like maybe tipping a mesial, at the same time as you can intrude. It's not going to work. Upright the teeth first, then intrude. I've been telling you guys that. So everyone's trying to do two. Just because the Clincheck says it can happen doesn't mean it's going to happen. So try doing it. Please upright the teeth first, then intrude the teeth. And of course, you need to make the plan predictable in terms of speed. And I love that all these cases were like 50, 60, 70, 80 aligners. All you guys are like, no, I want to do it faster. It doesn't work, okay? So check your TMT. This is going to be a theme. Okay. So again, this kept happening throughout the whole lecture. I've been telling you guys when things are unpredictable, you can try doing all this stuff at one time first. I don't really care. Sometimes it does work. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. Again, they're trying to figure out, in braces, we do the level and align first. And if you take a course about braces, you'll learn this. Then we do the AP, space closure, stuff like that. Okay? 2 separate stages. Then finishing, right? 3 stages in braces. If you want the most predictable Clincheck, do it in stages. You can try doing it all at one time. Some movements pair well together, some don't. Nobody knows why. Still learning. Invisalign has been in business for what, almost 27 years? A long time, man. I think I was certified in 2002? A long time ago. Okay, it's definitely changed a lot in 22 years since I've been certified. So you can tell them to do this. You just tell them, first do this, then do this, okay? So they're not gonna do this unless you ask for it. And it is gonna make the case look like it takes a lot longer, but it's probably actually gonna be done faster if you do it that way. But then again, sometimes it does work, so I don't know. Consensus was power ridges don't work that well. I've been telling you guys that, just turn it off. You can put that in your plan, just no power ridges ever. And they don't always pay attention. So, this is a good one. Guess what this doctor does first? What do I tell you guys do very, very first on every single case? Check the bite. Check the bite, check the bite, check the bite, check the bite. articulation paper, check the bite, check the bite. So this doctor always checks the bite. I don't think this doctor takes photos with articulation paper. That's just my workflow, just so I can double check that what you guys, you know what I mean? So, but this doctor checks the bite. It happens more often than you know. Again, everything's getting better. That's just how it is. And this happens worse on all the other aligner cases. Invisalign's actually the better of the thing. It's just how it is, okay? You don't have to do that in braces. If you don't like it, do braces. Okay. Okay, this is kind of a strange one, and I'm gonna bounce back and forth between different topics. So let's talk about bite jumps. Bite jumps. Keyword bite jumps. In a jaw joint, in a mandibular jaw joint, there's different anatomies, right? Of course. There's different shaped joints. There's some that are more fluid filled, some that are thicker, fatter, whatever. There's a hinge movement whenever a mandible closes, and the bite jump is just not sophisticated enough to know your shape of your joint and how the hinge movement is. Sometimes there is an AP or sagittal component to the hinge movement. Sometimes it's just vertical, sometimes there's an AP. You can't predict that because it's the anatomy of the joint. So sometimes the bite jump is going to not land in the same position AP-wise or sagittal-wise as you are expecting. So make sure you do not treatment plan midline or AP changes until you actually finish the bite jump. That makes sense. So do the bite jump first, the vertical stuff first, then the AP and midlines. How many times have I told you guys that, right? I've been telling you that. But that's not going to be in your Clincheck. Again, just because the Clincheck says it's going to happen doesn't mean it's going to happen. So let's talk about anterior open bite cases. AOB. Keyword AOB. You guys know that I tell you they don't work. So again, a lot of this is just myo related. It's not going to work if there's another force. You guys need to know how to screen your cases for myo. I'm not saying you have to do the myo treatment, but if there's any tiny myo or habit issue, don't just take their word for it. They don't know, or they lie. You know, people lie all the time. If there's any minor habit issue, it's not going to be predictable. So let's say you have an AOB case that has, you're positive, no myo issues. You're positive. If it's like a 5-5 or a 4-4 or a 6-6 AOB, and you don't know what that is, well, don't yank the top teeth down, intrude the back teeth. I've been telling you guys that. It works really, really well as long as you don't impact the teeth. Fast. It's really, really easy. So way more predictable. Less relapse. Okay, I've been telling you that. Okay, stage your treatment in different stages. Align and level first, then space closure. I've been telling you that. Way more predictable. Let's see. Again, you're gonna have to ask for it. It won't be in there. First order movements first, then second order movements, then third order movements, right? Leveling, then other things. All right. Always do the complicated cases Invisalign 5. Don't do Invisalign 3 if there's any tooth that's not erupted, including 7s. Any tooth that's not erupted, not fully erupted, like fully in. Any baby teeth. Do not do Invisalign 3. I've been telling you that, of course. MA. Let's talk about Invisalign. I'm gonna have a lot of info on Invisalign with MA. And there's a new version of Invisalign with MA. And I guess this was all, I've been telling you guys about the blocks, right? But I didn't know now it's available. I just looked at my portal, it's there. It doesn't just come automatically. You have to ask for it, which is a different button on the submission. So I will show you guys in a different video how to do that, but you have to ask. There is an additional fee for the blocks, okay? It is definitely, consensus was only the speaker had done it, but it is a far superior product, and to definitely pick that if you can. Let's see. On MA spacing cases, and how come sometimes the teeth dump in MA and sometimes they don't? Don't do your MA case at the same time as the spacing case. If there's any gaps, close the spaces first, then do the MA, because strange things happen with tipping if you have spacing and MA at the same time. It's just an anchorage thing. So they said, so if there's anterior spaces like a class 2 div 1 case, close the spaces first, do the pre-MA, then do that. Again, this won't be in your Clincheck unless you ask for it. So this was a great thought, and I feel like I'm probably gonna make an additional content video on this, but I love this analogy, so I wanted to use it before I forgot it. Threes are icebergs, okay? Icebergs, like the Antarctica icebergs. You know how like 2 to 2 incisors are like rectangular for the most part, right? Premolars are conical, okay? Molars are rectangular. 3s are icebergs. So that means that under the gum, a partially interrupted 3 still has more widened 3 to go. The software has no idea how wide your 3 is going to be. There's all different anatomies. It is going to guess, but it tends to guess wrong, and it's just not accurate. So always don't force erupt your 3s. Make a Pontic if you can and just let it go into it. And don't start any complicated movements until the 3s come in, especially space closure, because you're going to mess it up and it's going to take way longer to open up space again. So that was a great thought. I love that. All right, back to the MA thing. So the new blocks are called MAOB. MAOB. Okay, so there's MA with blocks, MA with wings. MA, MAOB. Okay, you have to ask for it. You cannot reduce the blocks. This was a question I had in the MAOB because it'll fall apart, just the way it's laser welded, like you can in a twin block. So sorry about that. Consensus was don't use the TBTG after the MA. They were just wearing nothing for 8 weeks. I've been telling you about deprogramming. Haha, I came up with that, I think. I think I'm the first person to come up with that. So I called it deprogramming. They were just wearing nothing. I brought up the concept of the mini deprogramming aligners and the fixed sloppy bonded, and people thought I was weird, but it works. So, okay. IPR, the most accurate IPR is, I've made some content about something called a swingle. You can look at the keyword for that. It's like a reciprocating handpiece. There's one supposedly from Henry Schein that people are using that's amazing. They said to order the red 40 micron double-sided, last 5 to 6 cases, way, way more accurate. That is, they're saying this is the best. So good to know. Let's see. If you have an IPR case and you're doing a refinement, make sure you click that you haven't done the IPR, even if you have, because you can get locked out of doing additional IPR if it thinks you've already done a lot. And they said that, on older patients with, shrinky pulps and stuff, you can do more than 0.5. So, obviously the patient needs to give permission first. So you can use Invisalign the same time as a headgear if you want to. There's a way to do it. I'm not going to get too much into it because I don't really do cervical headgear, but there is a trick where you basically band first, then virtually remove it, et cetera, et cetera. I've just been trimming off the back of the tray, but you can actually have it already. It would be cool if it was actually in the tray, but not yet. Okay. Let's talk about, okay. Let's talk about IPE, Invisalign Palatal Expander. A lot of conversations on IPE. For the most part, the doctors don't like it. Just because we've been doing RPs for ages. I've done thousands of them. They're so easy and they're cheap and they're not a problem. And I feel like this marketing concept from, again, my opinion, from Align Technology, it kind of put this whole scare thing into it. Like, oh, it's terrible. It's the worst patient. It's not that bad. Okay. It's a medieval torture device. It's not that bad. I don't know. I don't know. I had kids that had them. No one thought it was that big a deal. If you make a big deal, that's a big deal, right? If you want the IPE, great. Okay. But it is actually a much worse experience from what I'm hearing. So first of all, use filled composite to fill it. Don't use like hybrid or flowable. It's not going to work. It must be a very filled composite in order to work. Also, there is no Clin Check for the IPE, and I know they're saying it's 0.25 per tray, but just because of, I guess, the flexibility and the bounciness of the IPE, people are finding they're getting more than just 0.25, so they're needing way less than predicted. So if you just give the whole box and you measured it out like they tell you to do in the course, you're probably going to end up with a buccal crossbite. So either you got to virtually check this patient like every IPE, and really keep an eye on them, but like literally this doctor was saying they had a contract about, but the problem is there's no virtual care with Invisalign, so you'd have to use like a dental monitoring. It's not an option. The only way that you can use virtual care on an IP case is if the patient is simultaneously getting the aligners on the lower. So that's a problem. They're going to come out with it, but it's just not, it seems like they kind of put the cart before the horse here when they released the product, because they're realizing how important, there's been some bad outcomes with IP that I saw some stuff. I was like, shoot, I haven't seen anything bad, but I have my doctors just doing one at a time, check, one at a time, check, one at a time, check, right? So there's no problem, but must hear click. Also there, I saw some horrific IPE hygiene and like, oh my gosh, like worse than braces stuff. Like you have to have a good workflow for IPE because strange stuff is happening if you don't. And it's not that you've done anything wrong. It's just that it is a lot of stuff going on and you need to keep a close eye on that. So like the hygiene and stuff like that, they said that definitely you want the parents to brush the IPEs, make sure it's inside and out. They have to wear it when they eat. There is no option. They have to wear it when they eat. If they do not, you will get tipping. And I mean, I've had the same problem with shorts. So, I mean, I believe it. I definitely believe it. Okay. And also IPE does not work. You get weird things happening if you do not have all the back teeth in. Either all babies, all permanent, no stainless steel crowns. Must have attachments on every single tooth. So, and if the attachments break off and you don't notice, that again, the virtual care, really strange things will happen. So again, must be on virtual care, must check every week. If they don't, you gotta like go to their house and take all the aligners away or something. It just sounds like, to me, it sounds like kind of a pain in the butt. But also sensory patients have not been liking IP. I know they're marketing for that. The consensus is it's worse. So that like a really streamlined mini Palex is more comfortable, even though it looks like metal. But and it's also way cheaper. Your lab fees like if you get a 3D printed one, if it's the key, that's the drama. I'm gonna go into this. If it's the key, that's the drama. I don't know why the key is so. I mean, I've had some like elderly parents, like where like maybe the grandparents have custody or something. I get it. Look, I don't know if I could see the hole. When I did my daughters, I couldn't even see the hole either. I was in my 40s, so I get that. Now I understand it. So go to my friend at Aegis Star, the Kellis family, my orthodontist friends. I have other videos on the Aegis Star expander. It has a little lever. You push it down, you push a button and it expands. What's the problem? What's the problem, right? Okay. Okay. Don't use the holders after the IPE. Stay in the final stage instead. The holders are just too rigid and strange things are happening. It seems like that the final IPE is better for a good month or so. Let's see. Let's talk about extraction cases. So I like extraction cases with Invisalign. I don't have a problem, especially if it's a crowded Bimax extraction case. Fantastic, great, works great, right? You have to keep a close eye though. If you're using elastics and if for whatever reason that tooth dumps and you don't catch it, this is interesting because I've had this happen where if it's more than a 5-degree dump, it is clinically impossible to upright it with aligners and uprighting teeth with aligners. I don't know. I feel like I've had more luck if as long as there's the contacts open, you put a buckle and a lingual giant vertical attachment on, horizontal. I think it works fine, but they're saying more than 5 degrees impossible, must finish in braces. So be very careful. All your extraction cases must be on virtual care. You must check them every week, okay? They even said that class 2 elastics are better on the lingual than the buckle. Now that must be a hassle to put that on. Plus they don't see them, right? Or see them less. They said that you're less likely to get the dumping if you do that, especially if you put on the distal lingual of the upper sixes. Of the of the lower sixes. All right, there is a concept called, actually, you know what, let's finish talking about sequential distalization and then we'll go back to it. Oh no, we started talking about extraction closure. You know what, let's go back to extraction closure. Concept's called leapfrog extraction closure. I don't think I fully understood it, leapfrog. You can probably Google it because it's not my word. Leapfrog extraction closure. They said this is the most predictable if it's a non-crowded, non-Bimax case. And that is to retract the canines first to class 1. How many times have I told you that? Retract the canines first, at least halfway. I've told you that. Don't do en masse retract, just no giant gable bend, smush it together. Bring the canines back first, then the front teeth. And you're less likely to get dumping. But they said that, and I've told you guys this, as you start to translate a tooth, first you get the crown, then you get the root, right? So if you're doing the 1 week aligner changes, you never get the root. So they said to either do an active aligner, then a passive aligner, then an active aligner, then a passive aligner, so they can change every week, or you can wear it for 2 weeks, which would get nasty. So I like the active, then passive, active. I mean, it's gonna be like 90 aligners. It's gonna take a long time, but you won't get the dumping. So, and let the bone fills in. I mean, it's a cool idea. I haven't asked I have not asked a technician for that, but okay. There's 3 different types of sequential distalization. And this is not something I looked in my portal. I've heard about it and I've seen all different ways that they're sequentially distalizing teeth. Initially, sequential distalization was always one tooth, full, done, then the next, full, done. And that's how it was. But now they have a different version called improved. And I've also seen compact. So there's sequential distalization regular, then there's compact, and then there's improved. So the original was sequential. It does take a long time. For the lower, you must use standard